Hi, if you're an individual who's trying to achieve some goals in their life and they feel like they get overwhelmed, it affects their sleeps, it gets them in a state of stress, well, I wanted to make this video for you because I want to let you know that there are actually ways in the world where you can attract more success without overwhelming yourself on a daily basis. And why I'm saying this? Because my name is Adriel William. I came from Pakistan. I did my BDS dental school up there. Then I was training to become, I passed an exam and then I was training to become an oral surgeon until I quit that. Came to US, did a master's in health administration, then worked in different jobs uh, to survive. And then I got my green card, got accepted to one of the four best dental schools in US, and then uh, did my dental school, paid off my student loan in the first 2 years, worked with a corporate dentistry, bought my own clinic, now became a US citizen, bought a house. Going through all of these different phases, I have gone through, I would say, a lot of different learning where I was somebody. If you watch my previous videos, I've been always somebody who says, if I want to get something done, I will get it done. I had a very obsessive, crazy streak, like how you seen that TV show You. When I used to get obsessive about something, I'm going to get it done no matter what it takes. And that's the mindset I had. In my dental school, people would stop me and say, hey, Adriel, are you coming from a fight or you going somewhere to fight? Because your eyes look like somebody who's actually going there to fight. And that's how most of the time I was. I was built like that, and I was in a state of fight and flight. And over time, through going through different uh, awareness, reading books, understanding your own body, and as you age, I'm 35 now, I got to learn that the people on the top don't run around like a crazy dog all the time. They are not chasing things, they are just making some right decisions and attracting things. And maybe I need to start looking at their lives and their decision making. And that's what I started to do. People who are running 4 practices, 5 practices, and try to see what they are doing. And one of the key thing I'm going to tell you is that if you want to win in this game, especially if you're in US, understand this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. So if you feel like you're going to do a lot in one day, you're going to hustle, and well, you're only proving to yourself, but on the long term, doing so much crazy work in one day is not going to make you win. What you want to do is before you start your crazy work, you want to keep some time for yourself where you plan. Again, I've been saying this a lot of time in my videos. You want to meditate, you want to have a clear state of mind that where do you want to reach and what are the key strategies that you need to have. Maybe you need to have a coach, maybe you need to make connections, maybe you need to improve your English, maybe you need to improve your health, maybe you need your visa thing to be sorted, or maybe you need finances. But you need to be very honest before you go in, because what happens when people are trying to do 7 different things at the same time, all of them will overwhelm you, and you won't be able to figure out which is the most important one that I need to do. That is the number one key thing that you need to do. The second thing I'll tell you is most big breakthroughs, people who get these big chances or acceptances, or people who get these really great ideas, how Newton saw the apple falling down. Most of these things doesn't happen from the conscious brain. They happen at a time of when your unconscious brain is working. And by that, what I mean, the conscious brain is the one who clicked on this video, who's thinking analytical, whether this guy Adriel is saying the truth or is he BSing, he's wasting my time. That's all of your analytical conscious brain. Behind that is your subconscious brain, who's looking at my body language, who's looking at my face, who's trying to judge and understand what kind of energy am I emitting. Now understand what I'm saying is that the subconscious brain can see and understand things that the conscious brain is not looking at. In the same way, when your conscious brain, when you're overworked and you're overwhelmed, your subconscious brain won't have time. You won't get in connection. So one thing I'll tell you, yes, when you come to US, you have to work a lot, you have to survive, but over the weekend, over the month, over the year, whenever you get time, you want to get in touch with your subconscious brain, where you meditate, where you relax, where you sit down and write down some thoughts, you do deep breathing, you do exercise, you go in the nature, you sit next to the beach and think about your own self. You want to go in a little bit more about self awareness to understand your own self. And that's when your subconscious brain will give you ideas. The other thing I'll tell you is that you need to, the reason I'm saying to get in contact with the subconscious brain is through meditation, yoga, exercise, nature, therapies. Along with that, writing a daily diary might help you. Maybe if you have a coach, a therapist, that can help you, a friend. The reason I'm saying, because this will give you clarity of thought of what you want in life. Because when you know what you want, you will only take very few actions every day, which will direct you directly to the place where you want to go. Otherwise, you will act like me. I'm somebody who has done very different things, running a YouTube channel, going to a dental school, doing crazy stuff at the same time. And people would always say to me, Adriel, what are you looking for? And to be honest, I never knew what I'm looking for. And that's something I've been trying to unmask, something I've been working as myself. And the more I do it, I attract certain things rather than running after them. And what I've started to learn is that when your subconscious brain is working, you go in a state of flow. When I'm making these videos and when I'm working with candidates, when I'm working with foreign trained dentists in the interviews, I go in a state of flow where I'm actually attracting more things rather than chasing them. And when you're in that state, things start to happen. But you need to know what you want in life. And the next thing I'll tell you is that when you get into understanding what you need in life, and you have a clear thought, the next thing you want to do is have a positive energy in your life. I'm going to tell you something that might be new to you and some of you might understand, is that all of us have some level of divine or positive energy in us. We are built on the image of God. We have some kind of divine or positive energy or power in our body. That's what I believe as a human. Now, when we are able to stay intact with that energy, we are able to get things done. For example, if you wake up and first thought in your head is, oh, that other friend was bitching about me, or my aunt was saying something bad, or my spouse or my ex left me, or that person or my boss is a jerk, and it happens to me as well. Well, you took away 90% of your positive energy and gave it to your past issues. And now you're living in the past and you're going into negative loops over and over again. What's going to happen, 90% of your energy that was supposed to be there to create something good is going to get absorbed on those negative loops. And one of the books I've recently uh, been trying to read, listening on audio, was Becoming Supernatural. And that's one of the key things the author was talking about, is whenever we go in a past loop, we are reliving the past over and over and over again. And what happens, and this is what I learned about myself, when I keep thinking about my father's death, about my past friends, about something bad that happened to me or somebody said, I keep reliving that thought process. And eventually what happens, that thought owns me. It start to owns me. Rather than me thinking about it, it comes and controls my mind. And this was a very weird thing to understand. There's a book called The Power of Now. It says that what happens if that we keep reliving in the past issues, or if we keep worrying about some bill we have to pay or some degree or school we want to get in, what we are doing is giving away too much of our energy to that problem. And now it is controlling our brain, rather than we focusing on our own positivity or being grateful for what we have or looking for some positive way out. We are stuck in a positive way, in a negative problem now. And one of the things that I've learned from that book or those points is that don't give more energy than needed to negative things, to past issues, or something that you want to acquire in the future very badly. If you want to be somewhere in the future, if you want to achieve something, don't think about the goal. Think about how you would feel when you become that person. For example, you want to get into a dental school, or you want to have a US citizen, or you want to have $1 billion in your account. Close your eyes and don't think about the dental school you want to get in, or don't think about the money. Think about how would you feel if that was the place where you got all of this. And when you start thinking about that, those things, you're gonna release some gratitude. You're gonna go in a state of positivity. You're gonna think about happiness. You're gonna think good about yourself, and you're gonna go in a state of good emotions. And when you do that, the body actually produces chemicals that relaxes you, that makes your brain more young, that makes you more neuroplastic. It gives you more flexible to be creative in your life. It reduces your beta brain waves. So beta brain waves are the ones that comes in stress, and when they become more relaxed, your body relaxes down and your cortisol level goes down. Now I know I'm saying a lot of different things, but all of these things are connecting. Remember, you want to achieve things in your life without getting overwhelmed every day, right? That's the point. So the point that I'm telling you is that, first of all, remember and understand is that this is not a marathon. This is not a sprint, this is a marathon. The second thing you want to know is that you can't live in your past issues. You can't give energy to people's negativity. You don't want to get overstuck in your future goals. What you want to focus on is how would you feel, like how grateful will you be if you achieve that goal, and start to live in a state of gratitude and start to feel good about yourself, and then eventually start to make other people feel good as well. When I am in that state and I want to give something back to the world, I want to give something back to somebody else. And that's one of the reason I wanted to make this video, because when I started to understand this, I was like, okay, now I need to share this. I have to. I don't know how many people would understand this right away, but eventually down the line, you will understand is that if you feel that I've already achieved what I wanted and God has given it to me and I'm grateful for that, and now I want to give back or be nice or be happy about it, you will start to radiate much more positive energy. And when you're in a state of positive energy, it's easier to get your task done, it's easier to sleep. And as a 35 years old guy, I'll tell you, if I sleep well, I can go out next day and I can conquer the world. No work feels like a work. But if I did not get that sleep, if I did not recover, even then going to the restroom feels like a freaking World War III. It's just too much load, your muscles are stressed, you're grumpy as hell, you don't want to drive, you're sleepy, talking to people, you want to punch them in the face, and everything becomes very, very, very difficult. Trust me. So I've realized if my sleep is good and I wake up happy, I feel like every day is a Christmas. And how do you do that? By being in a state of happiness. Now, one funny thing I'll tell you, as soon as you read this or understand the point that I'm saying, and you try to be grateful and you try to meditate and you visualize all your positive goals, you write them down, the universe will test you. Something will go astray, something will go south, something will bad will happen, something weird happens. And some I read this, I heard this, and then I saw it in my life too. Whenever I was like, okay, I'm gonna accomplish this, things will happen, something actually went bad. And that was the universe testing you. Before the sun comes out, the night have to become very, very dark. That's the universal rule, that before things get good, they actually get worse. So whenever you're in a state of bad thing or a lot of difficulties come on you, remember that this is just a phase before the good things start to happen. That's the other thing that you want to remember. And when you know that whatever is happening to you, good or bad, is actually by the end of the day is going to add up and create a greater version of you, you won't take everything very stressfully. So you need to understand whatever the bad things are happening to you. Maybe you lost some money, you lost some loved one, you went through a shitty phase, you're going through divorce, depression, breakup, or somebody died. Whatever is happening to you, at the current it feels very bad. And I can understand. But you need to tell yourself this is part of a greater story. All of this is going to add up, and one day people will see me as one of the more resilient or inspiring woman or a man, right? And you want to know that everybody has to go through certain journey to get there. But during that phase, you also want to remember you're not going to live in your past. You're going to live, and neither you're going to try to get stuck with the future goals. You're going to try to be in the present while thinking how you would feel in the future when everything will work out. And I hope you start to take some baby steps. And one of the book again I would recommend is Becoming Supernatural, because a lot of your problems can be solved through the way you look at the world, through the way you feel. And I've over time have learned that I don't like to become friends with people who are very rich, who are very poor, who are very smart, or who are very dumb. I like to become friends with people who have very positive energy, who have like a good spirit. And then I realized that every person that you meet, every human being that you come across carries a certain energy. And some people are able to use their energy to create result. While on the other hand, some people use their matter and their effort to create result. And I've been one of them where I would use a lot of force and tension and stress to get something done. And I get it done and I tell people like, look at me, I worked so hard, I put in my blood and sweat and get it done. But that adds a lot of stress. On the other hand, I feel when I make these videos and candidates come to me, it attracts certain business for me, it helps people get accepted to dental school. This is where my energy is being utilized, and energy attracts more energy. And it's just a very different realm of getting things done. And if you understand this concept and if you start implementing in your life, it's going to be a fight. Trust me, your brain is not going to accept this. Your analytical brain won't accept it. But the part of your body and your subconscious brain who feels things will say, this, whatever this person is saying, I can feel it. And trust me, when you start feeling things, you can actually do more things. You can become more successful because you will start to see things through the subconscious eye. You will start to see things in a different dimension. It's like, in Matrix, once you start to see that there's a coding system and behind that there are energies, it's the same way. So my recommendation is try to read that book if you can, and try to understand if you're going through a rough patch, if you're going through disappointments, this is all temporary. This is all a testing phase because a greater version of you is coming out in the future. And I hope this video helps you. If you're a foreign trained dentist who needs help with their interview prep, with their CAAPID process, with any of the other things, you can reach out to me. My details is in the description, and hopefully in the future I will try to make some more meaningful video that might help you. And all the best.